Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is September 28, 2023, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, gold tumbles while oil hitting new highs for 2023. But first, looking at today's major economic events, we start out the day at 2:30 South African time. Out of the United States, we have a quarterly GDP number coming out, and that's followed at 10 p.m. Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking as a follow-up to last Fed rate decision. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro and the British pound continue their sell-off versus the dollar, but that might change, so keep tuned. Now, looking at the indices, the Dow Jones goes on the downside, while the NASDAQ remains steady on support. Now looking at commodities, gold tanks while oil gets those new highs. And looking at stocks, we're getting a mixture. Now, first, the high-tech stocks are bouncing, and they're starting to bounce, and that might be the reason why the NASDAQ is so steady on support. However, the rest of the markets is kind of mixed. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin gets a slight gain. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. Starting out with the Euro USD, it's free falling. I mean, right now this morning, it took another 40 pips down, and we are hitting below our support level of 105-ish level, and we're hitting that. And that might imply if we continue selling off at this rate, we may break this 105, and that may mean we could go to parity versus the dollar once again. Keep that in mind. Looking at the British pound, also doing the same thing at 121. However, okay, this is the however part. If we look at the Japanese yen, it got stronger. It got stronger right before it's hitting that new lows versus the dollar. And you can see that quite clearly, 149, we're looking at weekly. If we look at a 4-hour chart, it did get stronger, okay? So this may be a tipping point for the euro and the British pound as to when it's going to actually taper off versus the dollar. Now, jumping into commodities, gold tumbles to 1876. Now, a couple of things here. Okay, we haven't been at this low for quite some time. Okay, we've hit a low of 1890, but not a low of 1876, which is significant, okay, altogether. And you can see that quite clearly. However, we may bounce off of this level. This may be still a bounce, okay? So just keep that in mind. I mean, this is not, massive tumble, but it's enough of a sell-off to call it a tumble, okay? At least for now. Just get our terms right. Looking at oil, $94 a barrel. That is a high for oil for the year, and it also broke above its resistance level. So that means we may be headed to $100 a barrel for oil. So keep that in mind. Now, looking at the U.S. markets. First, the Dow Jones did break lower to 33,800. Continue that sell-off. It actually took it even further, but made a comeback intraday. You could see that green bar after that sell-off during the day and then a comeback during the afternoon. So keep that in mind. However, looking at the NASDAQ, didn't break lower, holding on support. Okay. Now, this could be because if we look at Apple, it bounced. Okay. If we look at Facebook, it didn't go down. Right, either. If we look at Microsoft, it bounced, okay? So there's some strength in the markets. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go back to our all-time highs. If you look in the video, also, we started going higher as well. So looking at the stocks, it's a little bit mixed, okay? Because if I look at JP Morgan, it also bounced, okay? Which was a good sign, okay? And if we look at ALCOA, it also bounced. So not everything sold off. There were conglomerates that sold off, but the oil stocks were strong. So this may be a point where we're changing character and we may see ourselves actually bouncing off of these levels. Okay, it may be. And we're heading into October, which is a big earnings season. So this is something to just keep in mind that we may be tapering off until then, until we get a clearer picture. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, got a spike yesterday and then a correction and then a slight gain. Okay, nothing really crazy happening. I don't see a reason to get into this at this stage. Okay, still not. Okay, because it's just trading sideways and really in a very tight area. If you want to day trade it, okay, and you saw that momentum and you were in front of the screen, good for you, okay? But otherwise, it's really not character, not for a swing trade, but for a day trade, perhaps, okay, if you want to just take those little points throughout the day. But you have much more opportunity focusing on the U.S. markets, focusing on the Forex symbols, especially now as things are really trending. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.